That's why I run yellow.
Okay. That's like one card out of like, what, 54?
Hey bro, say it again to the deck.
That's one card out of 54.
Hey everyone, this is Curb, and I bring you another standard match. Today we're going to be looking at Ava on the left, and on the right we do have Charmont. So let's go ahead and see. I think it's been a really long time since we've been featured Charmont on the channel, and I think we have actually featured this exact matchup before. But let's go ahead and see how these decks are kind of currently doing. Of course, we do have Ava getting her new promo and kind of just becoming a little bit of a threat, like still an A tier, I guess. But you know, there's still things like Shiranui that are just like way better than like pretty much everything else right now. And then of course Charmont is a deck that I guess a lot of people kind of dropped like after a while. Like I don't think it's like warranted to drop it. Like Charmont is still a solid deck. You can definitely just like win locals with it. You can probably take it to a regionals and have a decent time. But yeah, let's go ahead and see how this matchup actually does turn out. So we do see a little bit of early rushing coming out from the Ava player here, of course, calling down an Imgar. It doesn't really matter because if it just gets attacked, you can just, you know, reborn it by Energy Blasting 3. So definitely like not really much of a committal. We're blocking that with a 5k guard, taking the Vanguard swing, just damage checking that Reseus, which is I guess a little unfortunate because you do kind of need a little bit of combo pieces. Charmont is very much a combo deck, but it does have kind of the power to back up. Like it has a very good payoff is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, calling out the grade 1, calling out to this is honestly a very deadly combo, especially if you're going first. The Reseus plus the French set kind of puts you with this engine where you can have multiple attacks that just like hit over defensive. So we're seeing the 8 here, swinging Vanguard for 20 for basically 0 commitment, and then we have this other column which is still at 18, which is hitting over a defensive and allows you to reuse that Reseus. So we're going to be not guarding the Vanguard, getting 8% run off of that drive check. Going to be using the French chat, choosing 4 units as per her errata effect, and then of course bouncing back the Reseus. The grade 1 is also going to be going back into the soul as per its effect. So we essentially just you know, we managed to do 3 attacks that turn. They were pretty powerful, and we basically didn't have to commit very much. We pretty much just committed 1 card, being the French chat there. Of course, Ava going into that grade 2 turn, going to be searching out yet another copy of the, what's it called, the Monster Order. Not sure if Ava players are still playing the Retire Protection, the grade 1. It's not as necessary in the new builds, especially since in this format not a lot is really realistically retiring, and the only thing that really is like kind of Shiranui, but like Shiranui gets around it anyway, so it's not like that big of a problem. Which is why most builds have kind of opted to cut it, or at the very least, you know, not search it off of your grade 1, grade 2 searches. But you know, we did play the order. I kind of missed what we got off of that, but it looks like we are going to be using an Imgar here, calling it out just being a 10k booster. That is, you know, going to just be there. Using the Wavy Loss here, putting it behind the Vanguard, which is, you know, not a place you usually see Wavy Loss. Usually ends up being on one of the other rearguard circles because he has a pretty good 13k booster. Anyways, Soul Blasting 2. We've got some pretty decent columns here. We've got the 18 and the 23. Well, not 23 yet. It's still 18. So we've got 2 18k columns here. They do kind of die to a defensive, which is a bit of a problem. But honestly, if this is me in this situation, I think we kind of maybe want to take out that French chat, because French chat is actually pretty vital to Charmont, considering that it is a way to let them reuse their combo pieces, and if they are not able to do that as much, they are much more reliant on, you know, drawing into it. So we do see the grade 2 here being used. I believe did we call over an Imgar with it? No, it's just on the other side, my bad. But we're gonna overcall the Imgar anyway with a Combine Rusher, which, you know, I guess makes sense. You know, it is just better numbers technically. 20 versus 18 makes that much more of a difference. So swinging the 10k at the Vanguard here, thinking about intercepting with that French chat, but looks like we're just gonna be taking it, getting that very nice defensive, which is gonna be shutting down pretty much most of these attacks, making this Vanguard a 1 to pass, and then swinging At the rear guard, looks like it should be 20 if my numbers are correct here. But I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I guess what we meant to do was give power to the rear guard so that they couldn't attack into it. I have no idea. But anyways, they swung for 20, and I guess we just took it because I think that's honestly what happened. I don't know why I'm confusing myself. They probably just swung 20 and it's like, okay, I'm gonna take it. Anyways, we see that grade 1. I don't know what any of the Charmont cards are. I don't really know what they do other than like what I see across the table for me. But I know this one, this is a Counterblast 1, searches out one of the things, and then you can tap it in order to just put something from drop into soul, which with one of the new cards that they're getting in set 1 of Divines, kind of makes it so that Charmont does have pseudo revival, because you can just put anything in soul and there's a card that calls things from soul. So that's always pretty cool. Gonna be overcalling that grade 1 with the Resius, probably trying to keep those other 2 lanes free for the archetype, which is of course is necessary in order to actually get your massive amounts of power. So I'm going to be still charging a critical trigger there, which obviously means we're going to get double blank off this next 2 drive checks. But we still do have really big massive columns here. We did give a total of 20k power to the Charmont with her own skill, the grade 1, and then of course the Resius, which means that all these columns are at basically 33 with an increased double power on that other lane there. And we're getting a heal trigger there. It's going to be proccing, healing down to 2, and then of course getting another big massive swing here with it boosting the Franchette. Using its skill to bounce the Resius. She's doing a little bit early, so we won't forget. So I'm going to be guarding with OT there because that is a very, very big attack, which I think that should be enough because it's 33 plus 25 should just be 58. Yeah, so that's the perfect amount. Attacking this other column, which is 66, because 33 plus 33 is 66. So there's no way you're guarding that unless you're crazy, I guess. I'm going to put into 2 cards into the soul, drawing the card, and once again, you are kind of just set up for next turn, thanks to that friend check giving you the Resius back. So we do see Ava going into their grade 3 turn. We do kind of have to play catch up this turn. Your opponent's at 2, you kind of do need to get back onto tempo, because next turn you do know that they have a Persona ride, and next turn is going to be very, very difficult to survive. So you do need to keep that in mind, assuming that they already have it, because they have the Resius and they have Persona ride that already hits them to the 33 that they need. Anyway, starting off with the Ava skill here, checking the top 2 cards, I believe. I guess we must have whiffed on the blue research lab, or forgotten to play it. But it looks like we're just going to be using the Imgar there, putting it into the soul to superior ride the Pip Ava, which is going to be giving us the blue research lab here. So that's going to get us our 3rd order. A little bit unideal. You usually would want to obviously play the blue research order before you go into using Ava skill. But thanks to the fact that Ava realistically doesn't really use a whole ton of CB, with a lot of obviously with Pip Ava being your main target, that kind of just like frees you up to just use the Ava skill when you need it. It's like any situation. So using the blue research lab, looks like we didn't really get a whole lot off of the top there. Seems like Imgar might be our best call target, so I guess just kind of deciding where we want to put it. Just going to be calling it behind the Ketterbrant dual nation card there. We do also have the Imgar in the drop zone, so if we want to commit that, not sure what else we have, but it looks like we are going to doing that, just EV3 calling it out. So we have a okay-ish column there, being already at, what is that, 2030, so it's already calling down to 20k guard, so pretty decent column there. The other column is looking pretty weak, only 18. And then your Vanguard, I guess, is a little bit bigger because it's got that 13k booster with a weight loss. But I think definitely this Bront would have been be benefiting a lot more if it had the wavy loss behind it, because you could just went for 23, which does at least call down for a 15k guard there. Using the blue research lab and then calling over the Imgar with the grade 1, so committing some more cards from hand, may not be the best idea. Like, it's okay. Like, you have better numbers here. Like I was just saying that, could add a 23k column. But looks like we're actually going to opt to not do that and just instead just swing unboosted at the Franchette, which I think is kind of a mistake here, honestly, because your Obscudate doesn't really have that much pressure. Like, even if you do give it the extra boost, your opponent's at 2, they're at a pretty comfortable position, assuming you don't really see that many damage triggers here where they can easily take a lot of damage, they can get decent amount of defensives. They're not really stressed out by the Obscudate, so like getting a bigger number isn't really like that much impactful. Like, I guess it's okay, but you know, I guess it's just something to keep in mind. But swinging this Ava, which is, you know, it's pretty decently big. What is it, 18 plus 13? That's like 31 or something. Just swinging in at that Vanguard. Honestly, probably just take this. Like, the worst that can happen is like double crit. We did see OT out, so you do know that you can't lose to just like crit OT instantly. So it looks like we are going to opt to take it. First check is going to be that grade 1, and the second check is going to just be a Pip Ava. So completely threatening, and also very, very bad for the Ava player here, considering that they literally just got 2 non-shield cards into their hand. Definitely not what you want to be seeing, especially going up against a second Charmont turn, being a Persona Ride here. Just going to be guarding the Obscudate there, so it didn't really make that much of a difference. Like, I think you probably would have preferred to just get the 15k guard out anyway, because they were guarding that either way. It didn't really come in that much more. Like, maybe another extra 15 you got out of them, but you know, if they had gone defensive, it would have kind of canceled it out a bit. Anyways, we do see Charmont, of course, starting off with that Persona Ride, which, of course, makes things infinitely scarier, because that 66k column that you saw during that last turn, that kind of now just becomes a 76, which is, you know, that much harder to guard against. And do note that now that you're on grade 3, your opponent doesn't have access to 3 drives here. And he's going to be calling this card, which I can actually read the name of, which is Colby, apparently. CB1, give your Vanguard 5k and draw a card since her power is exceeding 23 right now. I guess we're just kind of considering where we want to call. I think we do have, because we only get 2 calls from the Soul, but thanks to the fact that we kept the grade 1 on board there from last turn, that's going to enable us to, you know, just have very strong lanes on both sides. Anyways, we call the Resius, just going to be calling it over. We are kind of just pushing for a game here, which is, you know, definitely feasible with how hard Charmont just kind of does swing here. Already swinging for just 53, what am I saying? 43, because I believe we did use the cycle card on Self, I think. I think it's another 5k. Yeah, because it's Persona Ride, Resius, and then 2 instances of 5k. 1 from Charmont, and then, of course, 1 from the grade 2. So this first swing is just at 43. Realistically, you do always... Well, I think you PG this one, honestly. But it looks like it's not really going to matter, because we're going to see some yellow OT action here, which is, you know, not going to be drawing a single card. Well, it's only going to be drawing the 1 normal card. It's not going to be drawing anything else. But it is going to be retiring the entire board, including that Obscudate that we decided not to search out that grade 1 order in order to protect it from retire effects. So Ava, already in a bad situation, has kind of just had its entire board cleared from a single attack, just because we checked that yellow OT, which is very funny. It's still just 1 damage, but now we do have yet another drive check, which you kind of, I mean, I think you just take this. Yeah, but it looks like we're going to be PGing this. I think, honestly, we probably should have just taken this one, because this is just, like, absolutely massive. You keep 1 PG, and then theoretically, if you guard one of these lanes, you do have a way to live, because, you know, you have the PG for the other lane. But looking at the hand, it might not be feasible there, because that other column is still swinging for, what is that, 20 plus the 43, that's still 63. If you can guard that 63, you could have used the PG here. You just kind of have to bet on them not getting a critical trigger off of this drive check. Looks like we're discarding the Pip Ava, hitting into a front trigger, so things just went from very bad to even worse, like absolutely terrible, as that 63 that I said before is now 73. So theoretically, if you had kept that PG, you would have had to guard this 73. But, you know, realistically, with the amount of cards we have in hand, we would have needed 2 PGs in order to actually survive this. which is why I think usually you PG the Vanguards, the one with 2 drives. You take the grade 2 from the back row because it only has 1 drive, and then you try and hard guard one of them and hope you have the 3rd PG, or you can take another damage. So it looks like we're taking this damage. Not going to be another defensive, and this other attack going to be 5k more because we use the Cycler's effect on itself, but that is going to be just way too much to guard with Ava's limited hand. So that's going to be the match. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to do those things, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.